my second Media Mondays. The name stuck. I'm sorry if you hate it, but I don't have enough time in the day to think about new names. The stash is back. I don't know if I'm going to include that in the video. That feels like a weird thing to say online, but I don't care at this point. It is what it is. Yeah, it's been so freaking hot here in New York. Like, oh my god, like upper 90s and like 80% humidity every day. So it's brutal. I can't deal with like all this stuff on my face. It's bad. It's bad. So, as I said, this is another Media Mondays where I'm going to talk about some of the stories that I've been seeing in the news. This actually is going to be a shorter video because I have to leave in like less than 20 minutes to go to dinner. So, I have a time limit, to be honest. And I have to change still, but I thought before I did that I'd show off my Milwaukee Bucks shirt. So, go Bucks. But without further ado, I'm going to jump right into this video, talk about some of the articles that I've seen. Some of them actually relate to last week's articles, which I think is kind of cool. But yeah, so hopefully you find this enjoyable. You learned something. I learned something today going through some of these articles. So hopefully you feel the same and you find this enjoyable and relaxing. So let's get into it. So the first article is a continuation of last week. There was concern that the EU and the US would basically implode in their trade relations. If I remember correctly, I think it was a 40% tariff that was threatened. Yeah, I think it was 40%, now that I'm looking at this. But they just came out recently, I believe this was yesterday. Yesterday, published July 27th. They came out yesterday saying that they've agreed to, I believe it was 15%. Yeah, so this is from the Financial Times. The EU has swallowed a broad-based baseline U.S. tariff of 15%, including crucially for cars, but not for steel, which will be subject to a quota system, which deals more with like the actual amount, not like the monetary value. It was kind of crazy. I was like fully expecting it to go on longer, but they reached a stalemate and Europe kind of folded pretty quickly. Which is where this article goes. I'm pretty sure the Financial Times is a UK-based newspaper. So like they're talking about it from like their perspective. And one of the quotes is, he's like meaning like Trump. He's the bully in the schoolyard and we didn't join others in standing up to him, said one diplomat from the EU, the world's largest trading bloc and supposedly an economic heavyweight. Those who don't hang together get hanged separately. So that's a pretty condemning quote. But anyways, craziness. So this is saying that Trump views the EU as a parasite feeding off the lucrative U.S. market while closing its own through regulation and standards. The U.S. president has said that the union was formed to screw the U.S. and nastier than China. So, I don't want to get too political here. He's not exactly wrong. The EU started as like it was like coal, oil, and steel, like a very industrial union. It's coming out of World War II with 6 countries. It was mostly Western Europe. It's like France, Germany. No, Germany wasn't involved. It's like France, Luxembourg, Belgium, the Netherlands. I'm forgetting, sorry. But yeah, it was really small, and it was to like compete with the U.S. So, he's not exactly wrong. Chancellor Friedrich, I don't know how to say his name, said the agreement struck with the U.S. President the day before would cause considerable damage to his country, Europe, and the U.S. itself. Not only will there be a higher inflation rate, but it will also affect transatlantic trade overall. In a striking rebuke of the deal negotiated by European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen. So the European Commission typically has like the majority of, or drives the majority of like economic agreements between the EU and like foreign countries. So like that's why the Commission itself was like doing this. But yeah, so I want to see what the French person said. Where's Beirut? Where is this man? Yeah, okay, here we go. France's Prime Minister, Francois Bayrou, said the deal marked a dark day, adding that the EU had resigned itself into submission. Wow, that's actually like pretty tame for French responses. Typically they're like, oh my goodness, wait, hold on. Oh, wow, I'm kind of disappointed. When I had seen these, I had read through like the first two paragraphs, but I'm kind of disappointed that the French one didn't have like more of a cutthroat quote there. Wow, that's too bad. I mean, that sounds bad, but whatever. Okay, what was the other one that I wanted? Oh, this was one that literally just happened. So, Trump, or so I should say, the president of Taiwan was stopping in New York. I believe it was JFK. Yeah, he was stopping in New York. And then he was literally like a stopover connection before going to Central America, where he's going to be visiting Paraguay, Guatemala, and Belize. And all three of those countries recognize Taiwan as its own, formally recognize them as its own country, not like like the mainland China kind of stuff. We could get into that, but I don't know. I might slowly find myself without a channel. Yeah, but he was blocked, which is kind of crazy. I don't believe that the U.S. has ever formally recognized Taiwan. If they did, it was a long time ago, and China threw a big fit about it. Yeah, it's kind of crazy that with how antagonistic Trump is to China and Xi Jinping, who's China's premier, that he's like going so far as to block. Like typically we've kind of just been like, oh, Taiwan, like who would have thought? They make semiconductors, we like computers, that kind of stuff. Like it was just like not really addressing the elephant in the room. But this, I feel like you're kind of looking at the elephant right now, and you're acknowledging him, and you're preventing him from coming in the room, or from leaving the room, I should say. So just like kind of an interesting thing. But yeah, I don't know. I thought that was interesting. That was from like maybe an hour, 2 hours ago. So you definitely don't see that happening very, very often here. There was something in tech that I thought was cool. Sorry, I'm laughing thinking about it. I made my first thumbnail for the last video that I made, the Fantastic Four one. So I got a crash course in Canva from my girlfriend, who really took pleasure in